Hello everyone, Professor Oleander here. First off, I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there that happen to be watching. Second, I wanted to take advantage of the fact that there was an update that came out for V3 a couple days ago to go over some of the new features. And I have the changelog up. Let me move it over to the screen. And I won't go through all of them. Most of them have to do with crossing gates, some signals. There were some floating track issues, things like that. I've got, yeah, okay, auto is working. Got trains out here stopping. I want to make sure that they're working here. The one feature that I'm going to focus on is the new, what are they calling it? Ground crew action key. But very briefly, I want to go over that they have changed on the Shift Z menu. Like if you have your heading up right there, that menu gets annoying sometimes. So like it used to be, if you were facing this way and it was 243 and then you took control of a train, right here, and then you got into the seat, the heading would change to 0 because you're facing, it becomes relative to the locomotive. So they've changed that. Some other things, there was a couple of them that I thought wasn't an issue, but apparently they were, like GFC retaining its settings after you relinquish a train. I didn't know that that was an issue. One of the other big ones was now, if you are running a train, your mile per hour reading here, if I go into slow speed control, an SS comes up there now that says slow speed. So if you're, it's a visual indicator. It only works if you're using the HUD. This menu is annoying, by the way. If the devs are watching, please give us some options with this thing. Either, I don't know, it's kind of annoying. You know, I try and point over something in that, and then there's some issues where, well, it looks like they fixed that for the most part, but sometimes you can mouse off of it. Looks like you have to actually click now, but it gets in the way. Like if I'm trying to point to something and then all of a sudden that thing comes down. Kind of annoying. But slow speed control, you turn it off, slow speed's off, it goes off there. Now the big one that I wanted to focus on is the whole deal with ground crew actions. And I'm gonna get over here. The other brief one, the other update that they added was trains, AI will not train spawns of the same tag within a period that you can now specify. So you don't have multiple of the exact same train running in one instance. And it's based off of the amount of simulator time. No, I'm sorry, amount of real time and not simulator time. So you can't just go forward in time. Not that you can't go forward in time now anyway. With the way that they've got the game set up, at least, let me not lie to you. Yeah, you can't go forward in time anymore. Can't even, yeah, you can't go forward in time. So used to be, if you wanted to like process locals, about the only way you can do it is you have to set your initial time at an earlier date, and then you have to go forward from there. That's the only way that you can go forward in time now. But it's not based off of simulator time anyway. It's based off of play time. They said real time, but I'm pretty sure it's the amount of time that you have the simulator open. So the ones that would mostly affect are going to be the guys that are running servers that are 24/7. So that would actually be 2 days is 2 days. It's the amount of time that you have the game up and running. So the ground crew action key. Okay. There are notes on this that are in the changelog. The one thing that I will add is you cannot do this from FreeFly. And let me make sure that I have that train relinquished. I'm going to take this train here. And used to be, when we wanted to go through and do air hoses and whatnot, you had to click on the coupler, you had to, you know, you might close your angle cock, and then you could open the coupler if it was if there wasn't too much stretch force on it, but you would connect your air hoses like that. And then you would have to go in here, open up your angle cock, and you'd have to come and click on this one, and you'd have to open that one and all that. You don't have to do that anymore. If you want to, you can do it with these keys. Now you have to be on the ground, and that is not in the patch notes. So you have to be on the ground, and you have to go in between the cars. It says 6 feet or 2 meters. 6 feet is somewhere about right there. That's about 6 feet away, more or less. The reason why I'm scaling this is 4 foot 8 inches right here. Halfway is 2 foot 4 1/4. So that's half. There's another half, and I'm standing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 6 feet away. But you can't. It doesn't work. It says you're too far away. You can't do anything. So what I would do is use the ties as kind of your reference, kind of get right up next to the railhead here, and then you can either hold shift, and you have to be looking at it, shift and space bar, and you can connect your air hoses. Do the same thing with the angle cock, shift and space bar, or over the coupler here, you can hold the right mouse button and then left click, and if you're close enough to it, you can do that as well. So we're going to do a couple of these. The bounding box for this is basically make an imaginary box from like the edge here. Use the actual knuckle itself as your indicator. So wherever there's a knuckle, you can somewhere kind of in this general area. It says look down. That doesn't work, but if I go up here, it does. It actually says look at no. Where is it? Look just below the coupler, standing in between the cars. If you're standing about where you would be coupling or lacing up air hoses, you could do it like that. The box comes outside just a little bit here, but if you're like me and you don't want to go all the way in there, you just kind of get right here, and then, well, that's already laced. I've already done some of these. But the same thing with the angle cocks. You get in here about where you would be standing, and you can do that. And I know I closed that one. I'm not really worried about it. I'm gonna shift F7 this train anyway. Same thing. And then whenever you want to do your cut levers, you have to be on the outside of the car, looking at the coupler shank, and then you would, well, you got to be like right about here. I say that. There it goes. So it's telling you, it will tell you that there's too much stress on it, that the slack is stretched out and you can't pull it. So you got to be kind of like right here up against the edge of the car. And it's not perfect. It says look at the shank. The shank is like right here. This is more of the, I don't remember, it's not the carrier. There is a specific term for this and I can't remember it. But just kind of looking behind where the knuckle goes in. If you want to say the pin is right there. The block is right in here if you want to aim kind of towards that. You can see there on the crosshair. But can't do anything with that one. So, good quality of life change. I can show you from the other one. I'm going to go ahead and relinquish this. And I didn't do a video on this. I'm going to do a dedicated one later. But right now, I'm going to run over here and show you the little Trackmobile that they added. Now this was in the last update, and I haven't talked about it yet, and I'll do a separate video on it. But I have this set of cars right here, and I'm actually going to select these cars because I forgot to do this earlier. I disconnected from it, thought I had closed the angle cocks on them. So I'm going to go ahead and let this train here charge back up. We have, well, I'm going to go ahead and drain it back off. Now I'll show you that the thing does work. open it and bust it. That's what I say. So we have this little Trackmobile, and the notes on the Trackmobile are, let's see here, it's generic Trackmobile, it's an other in the train maker upper thingamajigger. Out, there's our Trackmobile, there's your shove platform. I did not even know that they had a shove platform in here. What is that? That is, I am missing the boat here. Well, let's put it on this track because there's nothing on it. I have to go back and look that up because I didn't know that was in the game unless it was in. I don't remember seeing it in the latest update. I have to go back and look through and see what they got. Anyway, it's there. It's right up underneath the shoving platform. Trackmobile, you can spawn these in. I hate that you can't spawn these things where it's saying the track's not clear. Why is the track not clear? There's nothing there. You can spawn multiples in. One thing you cannot do, you can't MU them together, which is probably a good thing because somebody would take about 20 of these and string them together and try and haul a train over Cajon, and that would just not end well. When the brake pedal is released, the handbrake will automatically apply. Handbrake automatically releases when the gas pedal is pressed. It has a basic train air brake capability, does not have air brakes itself. It has switches for front rear headlights, dome light, and rotating beacon. The dome light does not work. I have tried it a couple times. Even at night, it does not come on. There's ignition switch, and remember this is a Trackmobile. It is not a yard switcher. It can only move a couple cars at a time. We have a couple cars. I am going to empty these cars just because this Trackmobile does not like loads. So when we make sure our link, when you take control of it, you get a little helper. Don't know why, unless he's like your brakeman or something. Hop in. It's very nice and quiet. I've got the door open. You can close the door. You can open the door. It's all the same to me. And you've got your little toggle switches for your headlight, and both of these do work. It's hard to tell because it's dark. The beacon does work, and as I said, the dome light does not. So let's start this thing up. Not a bad little runner. This does not have any indication in the cab of what direction you're going. You have to use your HUD unless you just want to kind of guess. So let's go ahead and couple up to these cars. And we'll do a stretch just because. And that's a good stretch. 8 step. And put that there. Now if we wanted to cut these cars, we could just do this. We could just sit here and get close. There it goes. And you see uncoupling bar actuated. Stretch it out and pull away from them just like that. So that functionality does work. It comes in handy whenever you're doing a lot of switching. One thing I did notice, and I just caught it there out of the corner of my eye, is your air hose. See how your air hose disappears? That's kind of interesting how they've done that. Okay, back at neutral so we can be safe. I don't want to kill my avatar. So you just go in here, you lace your air hoses, you do a partial set on that, you watch your brake pressure going up, you see your CFM going down. We can go ahead and do a oops, go ahead and open that up all the way. Now I am going to open up the cars here so you can see that the cars are charging, and I want to see if the compressor is air driven. So we're just going to run this up a little bit. I don't think it's going to make any difference. Now I can hit shift F7, but the cars still don't want to charge up. Now it does, the It will use the automatic brake, and it does work just like in a train. It does not have an air-powered independent brake. I believe these are just like mechanical. I'm not 100% sure if it's a wet brake or if it's something like that. I don't know what the newer ones have. But the old ones had a little compressor on them. And like I said, they could only handle a couple cars at a time because that's about all they could charge up. But I'm not going to sit here and wait for these cars to charge up and then, you know, make your set. But you can see it is controlling the set here. I'm not getting a set because it's not charged. But this little guy, he can push these 3 cars. It is a little slight downhill here, so going forward shouldn't be too much of a problem. Oh, let me take the handbrake off. It's not too much of a problem pushing these cars forward, and then you can stop with it. Not too terribly hard. We can go backwards with it. Actually, we can do this. There we go. That's better. We can back up with it, and then we can stop. I just love how they modeled the slack action in this. Now, it's taking it a bit to stop. I think there is a hump right here. It is downhill going into the shop, and I think there's the top of it's right there. So let me load this train. And let me show you how much this thing suffers now. So we're going to keep it in reverse and try and back up. And it is not like in life right now. We'll get it up to about 5 miles an hour or so. Just hold the brake. Just see how hard it is for this thing to hold it back. That's why you need your automatic brake when you're using these things, because they just don't stop. They don't stop very in a hurry. And then we'll just go forward with it. And this is the one that it really does not like. So very slow. Whatever you do with them, don't get in a hurry. These things are good for industries. It's quicker than using a locomotive, especially if you only have to set out 1 or 2 cars at a time. But like I said, just don't get in a hurry with it. Let's see if the reservoirs are charged up, and they are. So now we can put a set on it. This is how you're supposed to work it. And you can see the brake cylinder is going up. And now let's see how much Mighty Mouse has got here now. And it can't even move it. Let's see if it'll do it in reverse. Can just barely. So that is the Trackmobile in a nutshell. I have a couple of these in the yard. I've got the one over here by the car shop. I've got another one way over yonder by the diesel racks. That's actually the one that I use to put cabooses on. This one will be for like if I want to simulate car repairs or something like that. He would just be pulling the cars in, unless it's like a big string of them, then I just take one. So that is all that I want to go over in this video. This is my other one. Coincidentally, I called these, this one's name is Little John, the other one over there, that's Thing 1. I'm probably going to rename it because I usually name my yard switchers either Thing 1, Thing 2, or Elwood and Jake, or Hans and Franz, which Hans and Franz is... Where is Hans and Franz? I can't even remember. Well, this is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's the cannons that Stonewall Jackson had. It's also, I know there's gospels of that too. There is... maybe I haven't made Hans and Franz yet. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. The next video that comes out should be probably Friday, sometime Friday evening, and that one is on derailments. So I will see you all in the next video.